Welcome into another episode of the Division II Baseball Podcast. Before we get started with today's episode, we would like to shout out and let you know that the Division II Baseball Podcast is proudly brought to you by our good friends at Pro Baseball Radar. If you're looking to make smarter recruiting decisions in the transfer portal or on the JUCO circuit, Pro Baseball Radar is certainly your go-to resource for understanding player performance across all levels of college baseball. With their proprietary formula, they've placed stats from over 1,700 programs on the same scale. It helps coaches, athletes, families, and agents compare competition levels like never before. If you need to filter by home state, handedness, or other key factors, that's not a problem. If you want to see how players historically perform when moving up or down conferences, their one-of-a-kind transfer history database has got you covered. So save time, gain an edge, and make data-driven decisions with Pro Baseball Radar. Visit probaseballradar.com or follow them on X at Baseball Radar and schedule a demo today. Pro Baseball Radar, because the right move starts with the right data. Welcome into the Division II Baseball Podcast. I'm Will Connerly alongside Robert Fry. We're joined alongside Tom Griffin here today, head coach at Carson-Newman. 20th season as the head ball coach there, and it is a 7-0 start to the year. They're off to a great start this past weekend. They beat a team we were high on in Charleston a couple times. They beat Trevecca, and they're off to a great start this season. So we're going to talk with Tom about that. Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us. You've had a heck of a start to the year. Tell us all about it.
Well, we've been fortunate. We had some question marks coming in like everybody else, and one of them was in our pitching department because we didn't have any returning starting pitching. We had to develop a guy or guys for it, and fortunately, they have pitched really well. You guys know, having played the game, baseball's contagious in both ways. Both when it's going well with the guy in front of you, you kind of feed on that. And if the guy in front of you is struggling, sometimes you get to feed on that as well. So we started out well. Now, we were fortunate. The clubs we played, because of the weather they were in, they weren't able to get outside. So they went from, and you guys know that, shoot, you're in the cage, you're in the gym, but there's nothing like being outside and getting a scrimmage in or two. And the clubs we faced weren't able to do that. All right, so huge advantage for us. We knew that going in and talking with the coaches, but you still got to play the game. And, thankfully, we've executed well. We've been in the strike zone at a high percentage. We haven't been chasing a lot of pitches that you see a lot of hitters do early in the year, getting anxious, expanding the zone. We've been pretty good about that. And the things have fallen our way. They're hitting balls right at guys with bases loaded. We're hitting a duck fart over the second baseman's head for 3 runs or 2 runs. So we're getting some luck now as well.
And Coach, we'll want to talk a little bit, about that luck and, how well that you've been balanced as a team. Talk a little bit about kind of how well you feel like the team has performed on both sides of the ball.
Well, it has. And I think pitching and defense is the key. And we felt comfortable with our defense throughout the fall and early spring. Again, the pitching was the question mark. Would we have the ability to be in the strike zone? If we did that and trying to force our guys like, hey, you got to trust your defense and pitching the contact, even though as pitchers, when we grow up, it's like missed bats. We're looking for contact, hopefully not great contact, but we want contact because we can trust our defense to make plays. And that's happened right now. Offensively, again, we've been fortunate to get a lot of freebies with the walks and hit by pitches. Again, I think some of that is because the clubs we played haven't had the repetitions outside. As we move forward, let's see if we can maintain that discipline at the plate. Let's see if we can still get those freebies, because we know there's going to be challenges for every club, and that's going to happen. We want to learn how to handle success just as well as we want to learn how to handle failure. We're not taking anything for granted. We appreciate each day. We're not thinking too much that we're a 7-0 club. We want to play with confidence and bravado. But at the same time, man, there's a humbleness about this and going to work each day as if you're 0-0.
Well, certainly it's been a great start, Coach, for this group. You just mentioned it, 7-0. You get to go and get ready for next week or this weekend. But for you overall, I mean, 20 years at this school, tell us what this school means to you and really just how this year is shaping up compared to other years you've had, I guess, the previous 19, Coach.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, man, my career has taken a lot of different turns. I was fortunate to get a head coaching job at the age of 23 at Tusculum. And you think you're ready, and I'm there for 9 years. And when I got let go, some people call it fired. I say let go, but it was fired. I'm trying to find out. I get here to Carson-Newman as an assistant. Gary Rundles took me in as a volunteer. And I got to see firsthand a little bit more about what coaching should be about. The wins and losses, the execution in practice, we all know that. I needed something deeper. I needed more of a purpose in my life on why I'm doing these things. I would say it, but I wasn't living it. I think coming to Carson-Newman and seeing the Gary Rundles and Coach Sparks as a football coach, legendary here, is like 4th all-time in winning percentage. Seeing how they really talked about, Griff, make sure your heart's in the right place. Are you going to practice today? And if someone doesn't do well, are you going to try to help that young man through this, or are you just going to rip him up and just try to blow him up? And I learned a lot about, I guess, the transactional transformation type coach. I learned it through the people here at Carson-Newman. And I think that changed my life on my purpose. And again, this isn't for everybody, but for me, I think having a deeper faith and a relationship with Jesus Christ helped me personally because it gave me a perspective I didn't have my first 9 years in coaching. That was because of the people I was around. And then you start talking with coaches. We all have coaching friends. And you start talking to them. And fortunately, I was around guys who were Christian coaches and believers. And we talked about the same things we're all going through. And I think it helped direct me into a better understanding of why I'm coaching and my purpose for coaching. And I'm still trying to figure it out after 20-something years. I still don't have it figured out. But I am around some good guys that I can talk to each and every day to make sure when I go out on the field or I'm in the community or on campus that I'm serving others and I'm not being served. That I'm trying to be the best version of myself and pull the best version out of people each and every day, win or lose. Listen, I'm on the other side of the mountain when it comes to coaching career. I'm going to coach till I drop dead here, but I'm not in my 3rd, 4th year. I'm on the other end. So I really appreciate each and every day. I enjoy the losses. They tear me up, but I love that. And I love the challenge of figuring out, all right, what do we have to do in practice today? How are we going to train differently to get their minds and bodies right? So I'm constantly challenging myself by asking questions of other coaches, by being observant and being a great listener.
And Coach, you talk a little bit about, being a transformational coach, and something that, in my experience, I've noticed while being there a couple of years ago was, the team really supports around each other no matter what the score is. If it's a great play, the team will support. The dugout is rather loud in a positive way. Talk a little bit about, when you started to instill that, and talk a little bit about, how that's been impactful.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you said there was energy in dugout the right way, because we both know, and we all know there's another way it goes about too, which drives me bananas. But yeah, I mean, I think as a coach, you can't change who you are. And I believe I'm someone who loves life. I want to be passionate and energetic in how we go about our business. And that's the way I've been brought up from North Jersey. So passion and energy is very important. The ability to communicate verbally and non-verbally, the ability to be great teammates and be supportive. And for us also, it's a brand of toughness. And it's not like physical toughness, like I can get hit by a pitch and run down to first. It's more about a mental toughness of handling the adversity. That if someone comes to the ballpark, we're up 5-0 or down 5-0, they don't know it. That we still have the same attitude. And because we want to take that into our training every day. It's the same attitude every day. not going well with the girlfriend, things aren't going well in school, doesn't matter. You come to the ballpark, and it's like going to McDonald's when you were a kid to go on that playground, baby. It's okay. I can forget about things for 2.5 to 3 hours, and we can enjoy the playground together. That's something I think that we've always tried to do with our guys, and I think it's important to have leaders, players, and you need coaches that are bringing it every day, no matter how they feel. But they have that positive energy, that enthusiasm for the love of life.
And speaking of bringing it every day and going off at least your last point about trying to get the most out of guys, we were wondering, do you feel, or what's Tanner Kilgore right now? You're getting the most out of him, it seems like, at the plate. Tell us about the sophomore. 3 long balls already, looking pretty good, and seems like he's having a great second year with you guys so far to start.
Yeah, he is. His dad played here. His dad was a catcher here, a really good player. And he's got a legacy here. His grandfather was our athletic director for over 20-something years. So this kid has been wearing orange and blue since he was born. His mom went to school here. His brother goes to school here. If he went somewhere else, they would have disowned him. So, he's a big physical kid. And you guys at Quincy, you guys all look like you were 30 years of age. You were all big, strong guys. Strength overcomes a lot of issues. You get fooled, you get out on the front foot, you flick the wrist. If you have some length in the swing in the arms, you have some strength, balls get off the bat better than if you're 5'8", 145. So he's got the strength. He's got some good hand-eye coordination. Those are things you're looking for in a guy. And like I said, he's got a love of Carson-Newman. A lot of guys go to schools, like kids at our University of Tennessee, they grew up wearing orange. They want to go to Tennessee. They're playing for the state of Tennessee, right? Well, you got a kid here, he wanted to go to Carson-Newman. I mean, who thinks about like, oh, that's my first place I want to go, Carson-Newman? Well, that's what he wants to do because he's grown up in here. And so there's a lot of pride that comes in with that young man. There's one thing I don't have to worry about the portal with him. He ain't going anywhere. He ain't looking to go to a summer place because this is his University of Tennessee right here.
And Coach, talk a little bit more about this offense. You have 7 different players with 5 or more RBI to start the year. Talk a little bit about how anybody can come up, with runners on and be able to deliver a big hit.
Yeah, I mean, right now, boy, yeah, we're fortunate. We're fortunate. We're riding that train right now because we know that train's got to come to a stop at some point, but we hope it's a short stop. But yeah, right now, again, it's all fed on confidence, man. When guys feel good in the box, they could square up 5 straight balls and they're 0 for 5, and they're different in the box than if they were 5 for 5 with a couple seeing eye base hits. I mean, it's amazing. You guys know that. Right now, man, they have found barrels, they have found holes, and we want to keep reminding them that this is just a process. And even when things do, we all know it's going to, it too shall pass. When it does, the key to hitters is how long does it last? The good ones it happens short period, and then they're able to forget the past bad at-bats and can refocus on good at-bats. And all they can control is their attitude and effort in that box and then their training. What happens when the ball leaves the bat? And they can't control that, and they got to remember that now and when things don't go well. But they've trained really well. They've helped each other out. And I'm telling you, in the dugout, it's been really good to hear the conversations going on. We can talk to them about plans and all that. But the game is about adjustments, pitch to pitch, at bat to at bat. When you come back in the dugout, what did you get from your at bat that you can give to the next guy or to the guys in the dugout? What plan are we going to all come up with? And they've done a great job communicating in the dugout, and I think being on the same plan, even though we're all different type of hitters. We're all going in with an idea of what to do at the plate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we were looking at the stats, and I was like, I know it's only 7 games, but they're getting on base 51% of the time right now. That's just like, it's unheard of. But as we look forward, Coach, you guys get ready to start conference play. Just want to ask you about those feelings, and also just in general, like when we look at the South Atlantic Conference, a lot of those conversations for us started with Catawba, but there's a lot of really good teams in this league. And of course, you guys being one of them, LR, Newberry, Lincoln Memorial, Coker. What are your thoughts overall on this conference and getting ready for conference play overall to start?
Yeah, I mean, we want to take every game one game at a time, and I hear that, I get it, but obviously conference play plays a little bit more. You can't hide it. We were talking earlier, guys. I mean, I think baseball in Division II across the board is really good. We feel we have a very strong conference. We have teams at the top of this league that I can have a chance of winning the World Series. We have teams that won't finish in the top that are very good day in and day out and will win games in this conference. I think it all starts with the coaches. I think we have a great group of coaches in this conference that do a great job in developing players. I think that's the important part of it. And they do a great job in recruiting kids to their schools. But we can look at a lot of D2 schools in different areas. We talked about Quincy and when Northwoods and Saginaw Valley and the PSAC schools come down. Man, that's good baseball. It really is. And even schools that are coming in with a record that might be under 500, man, there's good players on it. So no matter who we're playing, we all look at them as really good. We look at all of our opponents as they got a chance of beating us, no question about that. We don't take anyone lightly. And believe me, we hadn't won a Tuesday game in like 3 years. So believe me, we didn't take nobody lightly. We haven't won this league in so long since I've been here. I'm thankful the school has kept me on. I'm not like Jim Gant where I expect to win it every year. I'm just hoping to get in the tournament every year. And once you get in the tournament, then you hope that you catch a little luck. But we are very fortunate to have some really great coaches and great teams in this league, which I think is awesome to be a part of, boys.
And, speaking of great coaches in the league and coaches in general, talk a little bit about the impact of first-year head coach, Mr. Jason White.
No. Jason's been really good. Now we have a mutual friend, Ty Blankmeyer, who coached them at Duke. I'm good friends with Ty, and Ty's one when we were looking for a coach said, "Hey, this guy's a young guy. He's pretty sharp, and was doing some work in the Appy League, and has come in and really done a good job with our guys. We're fortunate. We have 2 paid assistants. Both of them happen to be pitching guys, and it gives us 2 sets of eyes to look at our guys, where I think is really important. They both have different strength. Coach Sofield, I think, is very good with the analytic aspect. And I think Jason does a really good job also with analytics, but also just the mindset. I would be remiss not to mention that the guy we had last year, Travis Tingle, was tremendous. And I think a lot of the groundwork was laid with Coach Tingle and what he did with our guys. And we're seeing the maturation of these guys. And Jason has done a good job in continuing that, him and Coach Sofield.
That's awesome, Coach. I know you talk about these games and they mean a lot, but is it special to go get ready for a game? I don't know when this is getting released exactly, but get ready to play a game against a team where you used to coach that place?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, yeah. But their assistant coach, Todd Ireland, who's been there, good gosh, 20-something years. I recruited him and coached him at Tusculum for 2 years. We've been best friends. We do a catching camp together. We've done that for 24 years together. So, yeah, I mean, and when Doug Jones was there, it was a great rivalry. It was a respectful rivalry. We got after it, but there wasn't the BS going back and forth and the chirpy stuff. It was just compete and play the game. You cheer your guys on. You get excited when something goes good. And you didn't have to say anything else. That's why it was great, and that's why it still is good. And Coach Steele and the work he's doing there.
Coach, we like to sincerely express our gratitude for you coming on and talking about the program and talking about Carson-Newman baseball and Division II baseball as a whole. And, we wish you the best of luck going forward.
Well, Robert, I told you this before, and not because you got me on here, but I'm really impressed in the work that you guys have done to promote Division II baseball. You've done all different types of school, the highlights. mentioning kids' names. It means so much to guys on a level that doesn't get that, like the Division I, and they do a great job. Kendall Rogers, as we know. But you guys are doing that for the Division II level. And I can tell you for a fact, knowing here at Carson-Newman and talking to the other guys, we really appreciate the work you're doing, and it's great work. So thank you very much.
That's appreciated a ton. And, it couldn't be done without guys who have spent, 3+ decades dedicated to this sport like yourself. So 716 wins as a head coach and counting. You've definitely made a dent in the ball game. So we're happy to be a small part of trying to cover that.
Yeah, thank you, boys. Appreciate you.
And that is Tom Griffin, head coach at Carson-Newman.